some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
As weird and creepy as J.D. Vance.
A super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird, and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate are weird. Deeply and profoundly weird.
They are weird.
These Republicans just being weird, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies. Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird to me that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. That is weird behavior.
Weird and cultish.
These are weird people on the other side.
He kind of doubled down on his weird ideas.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Some of the descriptions of why they're there, but first we want to bring in our panel. Dana Perino is...
Some of the descriptions of why they're there, but first we want to bring in our panel. Dana Perino is...
Oh, we're doing this. That's right. As a full-service presidential candidate.
Yeah. Stand right next to me. There you go. And then we're going to have...
There you
My pronouns are she, her. I'm a writer and activist, and I am so excited to be part of this historic gathering of women across the country.
I'm happy. Bring laughter on.
Yeah, what is your message to Vance?
Your freedom of expression of yourselves in drag is what America is all about. I say that all the time to my friends in drag.
Good to see you, Senator. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
How are you? And thank you guys. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
She, her, and her. Mine too.
Poor hubby. Poor hubby.
So we really want to base our treatment and to affirm and to support and empower these youth, not to limit their participation in activities and sports, and even limit their ability to get gender affirmation treatment in their state.
And developing on Capitol Hill, a U.S. Senate staffer who worked in Maryland Senator Ben Cardin's office is out of a job after video allegedly shows him having sex inside of a Judiciary Committee hearing room. Aiden May Swarovski reportedly recorded himself weird. Listen to this.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
I mean, it's like weird what he does, right?
I mean, on the other side, they're just weird.
No matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
What was weird was him joking about racism today and then talking about Diet Mountain Dew.
Okay, so they've got the talking point, Scott. They've got it. And then you chuckle, but it's the kind of word that if it sticks in people's minds can make whoever you're talking about look kind of silly and small. Are you worried about it?
No, because I think any Republican would say, I think the Democrats are weird. I mean, I think it's weird that Kamala Harris is in the process right now of trying to repudiate every single position she ever took when she ran for president. I think it's weird that they're currently engaged in massive racial segregation of all their supporters. I mean, you could go on and on and on about all the weird things that Kamala Harris is doing, all the weird things she's done. I think it's weird of these phrases she uses in her speeches all the time. So I don't think the campaign is going to be fought on who's more weird, who's seen as more weird. I think it's going to be fought on one thing, and it's going to be on who can do the best job as president. In the Wall Street Journal poll this week, Donald Trump had a 51% job approval. The Biden-Harris ticket is still down in the mid-30s. It's going to be fought on cost of living. It's going to be fought on immigration and who can make my life better. These semantics about weird and that's not the issue for swing voters. It's why is my life so expensive and why is my community unsafe and overrun with illegal immigration?
Okay, Congressman Rose, can I just ask you a question because Scott just brought something up important. The 51% approval rating for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really amazing for Trump. That is a really high approval rating. So just take everything else out of it. She surged in the polls, her approval rate. Do you see that as something Democrats should be concerned about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why they're going to spend an exorbitant amount of resources actually reminding the American people about what life was like under Trump. The hysteria, the constant chaos, the utter incompetency. And look, he still has, an understandable bump from what happened several weeks ago, an understandable bump from officially becoming his party's nominee. That is all going to change. There is no question that the momentum is on the vice president's side right now, and no one sees that changing for quite.
The fact that in just the last week, we have seen black women and black men and LGBTQ people, the whole queer communities come out, Latinos, Native folks, and Two-Spirit folks, as well as white women answering the call. And tonight, right now, as we sit here, you've got white dudes for Kamala.
Can I ask a question?
So everyone is coming out in support of this candidate, and you win in America when you get all the people behind you, not just a small faction of them.
Quickly, Scott.
Can I? Yeah, I am mystified by the newfound Democrat obsession with racial segregation. I find all this racial segregation, I mean, I guess the party's getting back to its roots, but I find this crazy. I mean, that you are principally organizing all of your supporters by race and forcing them all to get on these calls, and you have to be a certain race or gender to get on the calls. I find this to be completely bizarre behavior.
And we don't need you to understand it, because here's the thing. We know that we win when we bring together people and have a big tent coalition.
But you're not. You're
Everybody
separating
who makes up
You're
America.
dividing them.
No, we're actually bringing them together. And
You're
by the
dividing
way, just look at the numbers. We don't need to debate this. Look at the cash and look at the support. Right? This momentum that you see in just 7 days is greater than any other presidential campaign in history. So say what you will, bringing people together who we can be proud of who we are, whether we're black or queer or otherwise, is the winning.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People gonna have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
Talk to you about it, but let me just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not. It's the other thing we know about this population, and it's a specific phase of life. Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories, and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.